Yes, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And I'm so fortunate to be here today. But before I start, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the newlywed Stephanie, who just got married, and she's popping the whip around this place. Congratulations, Stephanie, for all the work you've done for the young people over these 13 weeks. Of course, to my main man, the rock star, Amari, who's been traveling all over the place. Every time you see him, he's out there doing the good work, and my darling up in there. And of course, to Mike, who's coordinating some of the activities for Can TV 21. But most importantly, I got to thank my rock star students out there, my young mentees, the West Garfield Park Youth Council, who's controlling and producing this show tonight. First to the President Emeritus, David Elam. To our current president, Vernicia Jones, to our secretary in absent, Kiana, to our treasurer, Jasmine, to our new secretary of recording, Shania 1. Oh no, that's Shania 2 because it's two Shanias. Shania 1 and Shania 2. Go figure, two names with Shania Jones. Shania Young. And then, of course, my favorite #1 girl who's always rocking the hairstyle, Amari. And then, of course, we got the fabulous one. I tell you, she's cooler than a fan, and she'll tell you hotter than a heater. That's Mashayla. I love you all so much, and I don't forget much, believe me. And, of course, my very own heir to the throne, my son, Walter Jones III. Again, all of the other youth council members who are not here, Alfonso, Angelo, all of them guys, all right? Y'all know who you are. You're going to miss it tonight because we're leaving here to a concert. We're going to the Legends concert out in Berwyn, and we're going to rock tonight, and we're going to have some fun. And anyway, thank you so much, all of you who took part in making these shows a success for our young people here on Can TV. And I really appreciate the young people giving me an opportunity to introduce and talk to you tonight about my guests. I will talk more about my guests who came in all the way from East Baltimore. Now, normally I would see my good brother Richard Henderson, Pastor Richard Henderson, when I'm on the East Coast and we're hanging out either in Washington or Maryland or something like that. And so we are in connection because we at the National Leadership DFC conferences and all that kind of stuff. And then we always clicking with each other on emails and stuff. But we always see each other at these conferences, particularly the leadership conferences. But my good brother took an opportunity to leave Baltimore. I know he needed to get away. I know you did, brother.
Yes. Yeah.
He took the opportunity to leave Baltimore, and so he came to Chicago, him with his queen. And, of course, she got him going because she's traveling all over Chicago, is getting a chance to see what's happening. And I'm going to tell on you. He sent me a text, He sent me a text, and he says, you know what? Man, something's wrong here. We got to vote Rahm out. I said, what you talking about? I'm reading the text. What are you talking about? We got to vote Rahm out. Everywhere you go, you got to pay for parking. I said, man, you've been gone too long, buddy, because now we got little boxes, right? At first, we used to have meters back in the day. Now we got boxes that you would pay the box. You get the little receipt, take the little receipt to your car, and you go and do your thing, right? You got to park, you got to pay a meter to go to the lakefront.
Yes.
You can't get on the lake without paying. Yes. So there's so many things going on. I mean, even the Skyway has been sold, all right?
Wow.
The Skyway has been sold, the meters have been sold, everything around Chicago has been sold to the highest bidder, believe me. So right now, what we're really trying to do in the city of Chicago, to be honest with you, good brother, is in spite of all of that stuff that's going on, we're still trying to focus on saving the lives of our children.
Right.
I mean, we can't do too much when it comes to powers that be other than pray and ask God to give us guidance and wisdom. Because some of those things are ingrained.
Yeah.
I mean, years after years after years after years of people doing it. So some things going to be what they be until the Lord step in and make a change, right? Yeah. And I believe He will.
Oh, yeah.
Because He's going to uncover that. And I believe, according to the word, the wealth of the wicked should be transferred over. All right? So I'm at peace with knowing I'm going to get my share.
Yeah.
All right? I'm all cool. You better be glad, you better hold on because you're going to lose it. Anyway, with that being said, good brother, it's my pleasure for you to be in the city. The way we do this show, we first thank you for coming out, and I wanted to kind of briefly introduce you, as I think I did, having some fun with you, but it was all in fun.
All in fun.
But in all seriousness, I want to introduce to some and present to others my dear friend, all the way from East Baltimore, none other than Reverend Richard Henderson. Okay, he's the director of the East Baltimore Drug-Free Community in association with the National Initiative, and he's going to tell you more about that. But what we want to do tonight is we want to use this show as a platform for bridging the geographical gaps. You know, we always talk about bridging gaps here, bridging the intergenerational gap between young folks and grown-ups, bridging the gap between law enforcement and the community, and we also have been talking about bridging the geographical gap, cultural gaps, because we had folks of different nationalities, Latinos, and have you. But we really want to talk, and we talk geographically, we was talking about folks that's out south. Oh, yeah. And then some folks who came in from Africa or Ghana, stuff like that. Right. So, you know, talking to you from East Baltimore, you know, East Baltimore is like out there. Oh, yeah. You know, but East Baltimore suffers from some of the same ills that we do in the city of Chicago. Oh, yeah. I mean, as you and I talk, you know, I'll be reading up on the stuff personally, because when I hear about stuff, when you send me stuff, I know you put me up, all right? I know I'm getting the facts. Oh, yeah. And so when you send me stuff, it's like, you know, we're talking about Chicago because we're in Chicago, but we don't know what's actually going on in other parts of the country, and then you keep me posted on that. And so you're going to get a chance tonight to kind of educate us on how we can bridge the gap and what can we do specifically. The question tonight is, what can we do to create safe and healthy activities with young people for the summer? I'm repeating, what can we do to create safe and healthy activities for our young people over the summer? I'm telling you, we just heard about young people. Every time you tell on the television, here, brother, somebody done got, unfortunately, shot or killed. So, you know, I'm openly telling people, and I'm not afraid to tell you, I am traumatized, all right? I openly say it. I'm traumatized, and I'm compassionately fatigued, all right? Because I'm tired of seeing my babies getting gunned down in the streets. I'm tired of seeing all of this illness, all this ills, the ills that's going on in our community not being addressed. How can we be the kind of country we are, and our babies are dying more than they're dying in the war? I just believe it. So anyway, let's have some conversation. We got a call on the air, and we're going to entertain that caller. But again, I want to introduce you to my dear brother, Reverend Henderson from East Baltimore, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself. So tell us who you are and what is your purpose, good brother, for existing.
Well, again, I want to thank Reverend Jones.
Well, let's dab. That's what we do here.
I want to thank Reverend Jones. Been knowing Reverend Jones for a number of years. Yeah. We've been in conferences together. We've even hung out in the conference lobby and talked about
for a while.
Some serious things that are going on with our young people. And I'm just, I'm happy to be here in Chicago. As I told Reverend Jones, this is a vacation. Part of this is a working vacation for me. Just to be able to come here and spend some time with him and the young people from West Garfield. I am the project director of the East Baltimore Drug-Free Community Coalition, which is a chapter of the National African American Drug Policy Coalition out of Washington, D.C., under the leadership of Judge Arthur Burnett. And, one of the things that he and I and others, we always talk about is trying to help our young people. What is it that we can do, to help our young people, not just so much in Baltimore, but, around the country, because we see some of the same trends, in Baltimore that we see in Chicago. There's a lot of homicides right now in Chicago. I was on my computer last night, and I saw where there was over 160-some homicides in Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when I look compared to Chicago, if Baltimore was the same size as Chicago, we would probably have just as many. But one of the things that I hear folks talking about a lot is that our young people, our young adults, don't have jobs, and a lot of times our young people and our young adults, they're angry. And because they're angry, they act out on that.
Do me a favor, good brother.
Yes, sir.
Because I want to talk about you tonight, and I want to highlight some of the good work that you're doing in Baltimore, but also how we can continue to bridge the relationship between the west side of Chicago and East Baltimore. I mean, we've been working on it. We've been cultivating it. So it's going to happen because we're doing it.
We're doing
now, you done came to visit in Chicago, so, you know, it happened. Now I got to come on to East Baltimore and visit you because you know already kind of set the bar high now. So anyway, the question tonight is, how can we create safe, healthy activities with our young people for the summer? Basically, how can we create safe night activities? How can we create safe night activities? And what kind of safe night activities would you like to see? Caller, you on there? No? Well, we have technical difficulties with the phone. So if anybody would like to call in, the phone lines are open. The number here is 312-738-1060. The number here is 312-738-1060. I have my good guest here from East Baltimore, none other than the Reverend Richard Henderson. And Richard, thank you again for coming to Chicago. Unfortunately, you have to pay those bills, pay those pay for parking.
Pay for parking.
Oh, caller, you on there? Your comment or question, please.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My question was, what is the night like in Baltimore?
What's the what now?
The nightlife.
The nightlife.
Like during the nighttime.
Okay, the nightlife. Is that, well, of course it's a nightlife. What do the young people do? What is the nightlife like? Thank you for that question. What is the nightlife like in Baltimore?
Yeah, well, one of my good friends that I work with over in the southeast part of Baltimore, you know, he and I, we frequently talk. And one of the things that he does a lot is engage these young people in activities such as basketball. You know, every time we talk, he's always, you know, getting ready to round up a group of young people to take them to play basketball.
It works too, though.
And it works. It really does. Because I remember, you know, some years back, we had a Black History basketball tournament.
Okay.
You know,
what about the girls, though?
What about
basketball for the boys? The girls don't play basketball.
The girls don't play basketball. We are having meetings. We just had a meeting last week called Save the Children.
Right.
And we are talking about doing some activities with some young ladies. I have a friend of mine that's a part of the coalition that she has volunteered her services to help, you know, some young ladies. And she's, in her email, she says, I'm in if you're okay with it, and I'm okay with it.
So what is she proposing to do for the young ladies? I have some young ladies with us tonight, and since you're inquiring, I would like if some of my young people from the West Garfield Park Youth Council, some of the young ladies, if you are listening, Reverend Henderson would like to know what are some of the things that young ladies would like to see happen in order to bring young ladies together. Is that fair? So if you're listening to me, young people out there, grab a phone right quick and call in and give my good guest, Reverend Henderson, some insight on what you young ladies think would be some activities that you would like to see young ladies do in Baltimore and for here, for that matter. Because see, what we're getting ready to show you all tonight is we're not afraid to share information.
That's right. We work together.
Now this is real transparency right here.
Oh yeah.
See, the information I got that I would share with Henderson, he can take it back to Baltimore. I'm not afraid for him taking it back to Baltimore and making it work. Because if it worked here, why not take it there and see if it worked? Oh, yeah. Now it only can benefit the culture. All right. It only can benefit the people. So we're not caught up. So I'm gonna ask him a few more questions about some things that he's doing. Now basketball, I'm cool with that. But you know, I was just talking to some of my young people today, and I said I want to expose some of these young people to riding horses.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
All right.
Yeah,
I mean, because they don't even see a horse. They wouldn't know what a horse is from other than on TV or at a zoo. And they should know that it's okay for young people to experience that. We have black cowboys here in Pembroke, Illinois.
Yeah.
Now, if the young people never get out of the community, if they don't never see nothing but what's in the neighborhood, which actually is depressing to say the least, then how are they going to be empowered?
That's right.
How are they going to be what they can't see?
Yeah.
If they can't see nothing, call it you on there. I'm having a moment. I'm about to hoop up in here. Go ahead.
Are there any youth organizations in Baltimore? If so, who are they and what are they doing?
I like that question.
Oh, yeah. There are actually some youth organizations in Baltimore. Matter of fact, one of them sent me an email this morning, One More, One Less mentoring program, and what they're willing to do this summer and throughout the year is get with 100 men and 100 books. Get men reading to young men in these, some of these young men that aren't able to read, sit with them and help them read. And then there's another program that one of my good friends runs. His name is Cameron Miles. He has a young men's mentoring program. And last week we were on a call, and he told me that he was taking 45 young men out of Baltimore to North Carolina, somewhere that they had never been before. You know, and one of our coalition members, she has a program called the Speak Life program.
Speak Life.
Her name is Catherine Trotter.
That sounds biblical.
And she's having a program, you know, sent me an email while I'm here in Chicago. Asked me if I knew anybody in California, because they're getting ready to have an explosion program out in California. So there's a number of youth programs that are doing, you know, trying to help, you know, motivate young people, trying to help encourage them. And I know, like I said, through that Speak Life program, you know, I've seen, you know, they came to our center last year and they performed, and we had standing room only. And one of the performers was a young girl that was blind, but you would never notice she was blind because, you know, she sounded, you know, like an R&B singer. So, you know, we're putting these young people on stage to showcase their talents. And anytime I go, you know, to these different cities and meet different people, I let them know, just because of what you saw on TV a few years ago when Baltimore had these riots and uprisings, you know, we got some bright young people in Baltimore. We got some young people that are doing some positive things. We got some young people that when we sit down with them to do surveys, you know, in the middle of the survey, you know, they're talking about things going on in the community. They're talking about things that are concerning to them, things that they're afraid of, and how can we, you know, work to help them. You know, we're working with a trauma response team, you know, that's led by Reverend Dr. Humphreys and Mr. Chambers. You know, folks in the community that are trying to help make a difference and trying to help these young people. So, you know, we're doing as much as we can with the necessary amount of resources that we have. We wish we had more, you know, to be able to do and help young people, but you know, and that's part of the reason why, you know, I connect with Reverend Jones. You know, a couple years ago, we were having conference calls through Chicago and D.C. With Dr. Purnell. We were talking about things that were even going on in D.C.
And we're going to make it happen, too.
We're going to continue that.
But let me come on back to you, Doc. I mean, I like where you was going, and you kind of addressed some of the questions that the young person had about what are some of the activities young people are doing, and what some of the things that young people are doing at night, and all that kind of stuff. And you spoke about 100 men and 100 books. I think that's real important, that young people see real men read.
Oh, yeah.
Real men read. Now, you know, there's a problem in our community about books and people reading them, all right? So it's always encouraging for us to show young people that you can be whatever you want to be if you can believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you can believe it, you can achieve it.
That's right.
But you ain't gonna get nothing if you can't read, if you can't write.
That's right.
So I think that's really important. I like that what you said, 100 men and 100 books. And so we're trying to encourage you young people today to understand the power that you have. So I want to come back to you, Doctor, and ask you this question. We're asking the question here. The show topic tonight, or question tonight, is how can we create safe and healthy activities with our young people for the summer? We have to do something different if we want something different. We can't keep doing the same thing expecting to change. Right now, young folks are killing each other at an alarming rate. I mean, violence is at an all-time high. And young people are not afraid to die. It's a sad state of affair for some people, young people, to just say they're not afraid to die. They welcome death. Whoa, that's real heavy to me, all right? I don't want to die. I love Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
But I ain't ready to visit yet.
That's right.
I want to go to Hawaii first.
Okay.
I want to do some other stuff first before I go home, all right?
That's right.
But here's what I want to talk to you about. The question now, we got a call on the air. The question again, what can we do to create safe and healthy activities with our young people over the summer? You're watching the West Garfield Park Youth Council. Our special guest this evening is Reverend Richard Henderson of East Baltimore, the director of the Drug-Free Community. Caller, you on the air. Thank you so much. Your comment and question, please. Hello? Okay, it seems like we may be having a little problem.
I have a question.
Yes, what's your question, please?
Do you consider the city of Baltimore a safe place to live?
Who do you consider East Baltimore to be a safe place to live?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Some people consider...
Be honest, will you?
Some people consider... I'm not going to say... I'm going to say it like this. Some people consider certain parts of Baltimore safe to live at. But right there directly where I work at in East Baltimore, it could be a very dangerous place.
So Baltimore, the city Baltimore,
The city of Baltimore.
has some places in it that's relatively safe.
It's relative, yes.
You think? Or most people would say they are.
Most people would say they are, but a lot of times.
Not in East Baltimore, though.
Not in East Baltimore.
All right.
That's a different.
So I
different
take it that
dynamic.
if there's an East Baltimore, there's a West Baltimore.
There's a West Baltimore.
So if there's an East Baltimore, and East Baltimore is primarily kind of poverty-ridden, violent prone.
Yes.
What is West Garfield?
West
I'm
Baltimore.
saying West Baltimore.
West Baltimore is similar. It's kind of the same. There's violence. There's folks there that don't have jobs. There's folks that would yearn to have work. There's work that.
So would you compare that to Chicago in some kind of way?
Yeah.
How? Okay. Caller, you on there with Reverend Henderson from East Baltimore, and we're talking about what can we do to create safe, healthy, and activities for our young people over the summer. What can we do? What activities are young people wanting? What can we do to keep young people actively involved and off the streets and in some positive, nurturing activities? Go ahead, caller. You on there?
Hello, my name is David, and I have a question for the guest.
What's your question, sir?
What kind of events are interesting and fun for young people?
I like that. I think that's what we was talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that question. He said, what kind of events are interesting and fun for young people? Because, see, young folks don't want to sit around and hear us preach no more.
That's right.
Not in the beginning.
Right. Not in the beginning.
All right.
Later
I mean,
down the
but
road.
after we done fed them a while,
Oh, yeah.
then they'll be kind of open. They be ready for it, right?
Right.
but you got to get them set first, right? Hook them up, right?
Yeah.
So what? Can you respond to this question?
Oh yeah, as I was saying earlier, working with a friend of mine by the name of David Harris. He's the president of the McElderry Park Community Association, and they have a youth council similar to the West Garfield Youth Council. And as I said, he's connected to sports. He's also a coach.
Okay. So like the basketball game.
Yeah, he does basketball with the young people. I think in the past he's done football. But, by he and I being former co-workers, we used to work with a program that was similar to the ceasefire program here that was in Chicago called Safe Streets. We would have, nightly, cookouts, for, bring young people together. We would have cookouts on the basketball court, and, we wouldn't just involve the young people, but we would ask the adults to come out. We would ask the police and the different, some of the city council folks to come out to be a part of that. And, one of the...
Does that work?
That works. That absolutely works because, and a lot of times I tell folks that, a lot of times we get, young men and women that are part of the gang, part of the gang. And
Does it work when you bring law enforcement out?
oh, yeah. Yeah, they talk to law enforcement.
Really?
Yeah, because we have...
We asked a question today, Doctor. One of the questions was, would it be a good thing to bring law enforcement out when you having community activities with those folks on the street who own the street for real? Would it be a safe environment, or would it be an opportunity to engage law enforcement with the community if you brought them out? And the people from the street said no. All right, not from the beginning.
One of the things that we have to our advantage, we have a police officer he's been on the force probably 30 years. His name is, he's a colonel now, not chief, Chief Malvin Russell. And he's somebody that is able to engage with the community. He's also
I
an
like
assistant
that.
pastor.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
So
about.
he's able
That's
to
why.
connect. Yeah, he's
That's
able
why.
to connect with the young men.
You shouldn't have did that, brother, because I'm gonna hit out.
Okay.
Forgive me, Chief. Forgive me, Chief. Forgive me, Chief. I'm just telling you up front before I say it. We got a chief here too.
Yeah.
Her name is Chief Barbara West, a woman. She's the chief of police, the highest black officer in the city of Chicago, and over all law enforcement, all police officers. And she's actively, anywhere she go in the neighborhood, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Anywhere she go in the neighborhood, they receive her with the utmost respect. I'm talking about anybody on the street.
Oh, yeah.
Because she comes to these environments, she come into these activities, she don't come as if she come in there to lock nobody down.
Right,
She come in there to be open to what folks are talking about. She engaging people. So I like what you saying.
Colonel Russell's the same.
Colonel Russell, or Chief Russell.
Chief Russell, that's
Yeah,
it.
Chief Russell.
Chief Russell is the same way, because, you know, he showed up on the basketball court one day and he said to the young people, he said, you know, he said, I do smell, you know, somebody smoking marijuana, but he said, I ain't here for that. He says, I'm not here to lock nobody up. He said, I'm here to connect with you, you know, to find out.
But you ain't got
what's
to
going on.
disrespect them, though.
Yeah,
you know?
but you know, thank God they were respectful. You know, they talked to him, but you do have some groups though, and I'm gonna be honest, some groups don't like when the police is around.
That's my
because they
point.
feel that
That's my point.
the stereotyping, you know, those kind of things are gonna happen, that the
Right.
police are gonna look at them at a certain way. But you know, I think in Baltimore a lot of that is changing.
I think it should, and I think it should also change here. I mean, I have, of course, a few relationships with some law enforcement officers who I think are quite good people. All right, I mean, I wouldn't put all of them in the barrel of saying all of law enforcement people are bad. You do got some
You got some good
scum,
ones.
all right?
Right.
You do
That's
got
a good
some who ain't worth a nickel, all right? But then you got a lot of ones on the streets who ain't worth a nickel either, all right? Some people in the street, in the community who don't do the right thing.
That's right.
And
That's
then you
right.
got some law enforcement officers, I assume, and I know, don't do the right thing either. But all of them are not that way.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, just like you just got through talking about Chief Russell.
Chief Russell.
I'm talking about Chief West, and I know some others. Deputy Chief Washington, I think is a superstar. Commander Betts is a superstar. I mean, Commander Escamilla is a superstar. Commander Johnson is committed and passionate about the 11th district. So there are individuals out here, law enforcement, who really care about the community.
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
think even if we can't bring them to every event, I think there should always be some kind of gathering.
Oh, yeah.
With the law enforcement and the community to bridge the gap. Caller, we on. Give us a call here at 312-738-1060. Again, we're encouraging callers to give us a call at 312-738-1060. We're talking about how can we create safe, healthy activities for our young people on the in the city of Chicago and in Baltimore during these summer days and summer activities. You know, we got a few minutes, so we're asking you to call in right now so that we can kind of get your comment. So, Doctor, you was talking to me about how you was doing some series of summer sessions. What are those?
Yeah, what we always do, you know, since I've been a part of the coalition, we've been doing summer sessions whereby, you know, we're talking to rooms of maybe 20 to 30 young people. You know, not all the time about substance abuse, but a lot of times other issues come up.
Life issues.
Life issues.
Yeah.
You know, young people have
Absolutely.
questions about community. They have
you
questions
got to be
about
multifaceted in their
you know,
conversations, man.
education. They have questions about you know, careers that they want to get into, and you know, a lot of times, you know, these young people, you know, these questions go beyond the hour, you know, of the session. So sometimes we're there for an hour, 15, 20 minutes.
And you
but,
feel
you know,
good about it.
Feel good about
I
it.
know,
Oh
man.
yeah, feel motivated.
I agree with you because I was talking to some of the young people today. I have these moments, but you know, I want to thank those young people for being who they are. I want to thank you for coming out. We have time. We got to cut it out now because the clock on the wall is saying that it's time to go. And I want to thank all of you for watching 13 weeks of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And we encourage you to tune in next week when I hope that Fathers Who Care will be kicking off a series of shows. I heard that we might be doing it. So we're praying that we will be doing it. And we want you to tune back in next week sometime. Look at your local listing. And we thank you so very much for all you do. Listen, be a blessing to these young folks. Peace can be still in the city of Chicago.
Yes.
But remember, young people can't be where young people can't see. Listen, God bless you. God bless you, my good brother. God keep you. Good
Yes,
night.
sir, you
Keep
too.
the faith. And we'll see you when we see you, hopefully next week. Good night. Talk to you soon.